Picture this. You're flying downhill in a homemade, barely stable soapbox car. The crowd is cheering, and then, bam! You hit a ramp you didn't even see. Your wheels leave the ground, and suddenly, you're airborne like a discount Evel Knievel. Welcome to the world of soapbox racing, where the only thing crazier than the tracks are the drivers themselves. Some racers take soapbox racing to the next level, pushing the limits of what's possible or what's allowed. We've seen daredevils riding on two wheels, drivers who seemingly forget where the brakes are, and teams that show up with vehicles that look like they were built out of pure chaos and duct tape. And let's not forget the legendary crashes, because let's be honest, those are half the reason we watch.
It's gone! It's gone! Oh, look at that! Oh my word!
In this video, we're diving into the absolute wildest, most reckless, and most unforgettable soapbox racers of all time. Who defied gravity, who took the biggest risks, and who had absolutely no business getting behind the wheel? Stick around to find out. And hey, before we continue, make sure to subscribe. If you don't, I might just enter my own soapbox race. And trust me, nobody wants that disaster. Soapbox racing isn't just about getting from the top of the hill to the bottom. It's about how spectacularly you do it. Over the years, we've seen some truly unhinged racers who have redefined what it means to be a daredevil. Some risk it all with reckless driving. Others push the limits of creativity, and then there are those who turn the race into pure comedy gold, the Speed Demons.
This is fast! The kicker! Over they go! The finish!
Some soapbox racers treat these downhill courses like professional F1 drivers, except without the brakes, safety gear, or even a properly functioning vehicle. These drivers launch themselves down the track at terrifying speeds, leaning into every turn as if physics doesn't apply to them. The best part, half the time they don't even seem to know where the finish line is. They're just holding on for dear life. One of the craziest things we've seen, a racer hitting a ramp at full speed, flying through the air like a rocket and somehow landing it. No suspension, no roll cage, just pure madness and a whole lot of luck. It's moments like these that make soapbox racing so unpredictable, the masters of disaster. Then we have the drivers who seem to be here for one reason only, to crash in the most spectacular way possible. Some of them don't even make it 10 feet before wiping out, while others manage to get halfway down the track before their wheels betray them. These are the racers who provide the highlight reels, the ones who flip, roll, and break their soapbox cars in ways that defy logic. One unforgettable moment, a racer dressed as a superhero flying off a jump, only for his entire soapbox to disintegrate upon landing, leaving him sliding across the pavement like a human bowling ball. The car didn't make it, but the video, legendary. The creative geniuses.
The day, here it is. The landing was heavy, no control, starts to go, and then wiped out completely.
Of course, soapbox racing isn't just about speed, it's also about style. Some drivers roll up in the most bizarre, over-the-top designs you can imagine. We've seen giant tacos, pirate ships, and even a working hot tub. Yes, someone actually tried to race while sitting in a bathtub full of water. And yet, despite the insanity of their designs, some of these creative builds actually win races. Whether it's a stealthy aerodynamic setup hidden inside a ridiculous theme, or just sheer dumb luck, these racers prove that sometimes the most ridiculous ideas actually work. The rule breakers. And then of course we have the ones who try to push the rules a little too much. Whether it's sneaky modifications, hidden weights, or bizarre strategies that definitely weren't in the rule book, there's always someone trying to game the system. The problem, soapbox racing is so chaotic that even cheaters don't always win. Sometimes the universe itself seems to punish them with an unexpected crash or a last-minute wipeout. At the end of the day, soapbox racing is about one thing: going downhill in the most ridiculous way possible. And these daredevils, they've given us some of the most insane moments in racing history. Iconic moments from the Red Bull Soapbox Race. Soapbox racing isn't for the faint of heart. The drivers who take on the Red Bull Soapbox Race aren't just thrill seekers. They're people with questionable judgment, a homemade vehicle held together by duct tape, and absolutely no fear of public humiliation. Some race with impressive skill, some throw themselves downhill with pure optimism, and some, well, they just seem determined to become a permanent part of the highlight reel, the daredevils who defied gravity.
Down they go. Can they stop it? Not yet. Can they stop?
Some soapbox racers don't just race. They accidentally take flight. Whether it's from hitting a ramp at full speed or launching off an unexpected bump in the road, these drivers seem to believe that 4 wheels on the ground is just a suggestion. There's always that one racer who manages to catch way too much air, soaring through the daredevils who defied gravity. Some soapbox racers don't just race. They accidentally take flight. Whether it's from hitting a ramp at full speed or launching off an unexpected bump in the road, these drivers seem to believe that 4 wheels on the ground is just a suggestion. There's always that one racer who manages to catch way too much air, soaring through the sky like a majestic yet deeply unprepared eagle. For a few glorious seconds, it looks like they've mastered flight until gravity rudely reminds them that they're sitting in a wooden box with wheels. The landings, usually spectacular, the crowd always on their feet. Then there are the ones who somehow manage to land on 2 wheels and keep going, defying physics, logic, and probably their own expectations. Whether it's pure talent or dumb luck, these moments turn regular racers into instant legends. The human crash test dummies. Then there are the racers who never even make it past the first few feet. You can always spot them at the starting line, the ones with soapbox cars that look way too ambitious for their own good. Every race has that driver who takes off with confidence, only for their wheels to immediately betray them. Sometimes it's the front wheels falling off, sometimes the entire soapbox just folds like a lawn chair on impact, and sometimes the vehicle holds together just long enough to build up speed before a minor bump in the road sends it and its driver into an unplanned somersault. The best part? These racers almost always pop up from the wreckage like it was part of the plan. There's nothing quite like watching someone crawl out of a destroyed soapbox, throw their arms in the air, and celebrate a crash like they just won the championship. The speed freaks who forgot the brakes. Some racers take the gravity-powered part of soapbox racing very seriously. They don't just race. They blast down the track at speeds that make the audience collectively hold their breath. There's always that one racer who hits the final turn like they're in a high-speed chase, gripping the steering rope for dear life as their soapbox leans way too far. Will they make it? Will they wipe out? Will the soapbox disintegrate before the finish line? Nobody knows, and that's exactly why we watch. And then there are those who just never even attempt to brake. They go full speed into the barricades, sending pieces of their soapbox flying in every direction. It's the kind of moment that makes you question whether they misunderstood the concept of the race, or if they just decided that stopping is for quitters. The last-minute miracle wins not every crazy soapbox racer crashes. Some manage to pull off miracle victories that defy all logic. You'll always see that one racer whose soapbox starts falling apart mid-race, but instead of giving up, they somehow keep it together just long enough to stumble across the finish line. Whether it's missing a wheel, dragging half the vehicle behind them, or steering a soapbox that is actively breaking into pieces, these racers prove that quitting is not an option. And let's not forget the racers who somehow recover from a near wipeout to snatch victory at the last second. One moment they're spinning out of control, the next they're correcting their path and barely sliding into first place. It's like watching a disaster movie with an unexpectedly happy ending. The true legends of soapbox racing isn't just about speed, it's about who can survive the most ridiculous journey to the finish line. Some racers have skill, some have bravery, and some are just making it up as they go along. Whether they win, crash, or create the most replay-worthy moment of the race, these drivers are the reason we keep watching. And at the Red Bull Soapbox Race, one thing is always guaranteed. Someone is going to do something completely ridiculous.
Here's the berm. He's gone high, he's gone wide, he's gone round it too. How did he?
Legacy and impact on motorsport soapbox racing may seem like all fun and chaos, but behind the wacky costumes and homemade vehicles, it has actually left a lasting impact on the world of motorsports. Believe it or not, some of the craziest racers in soapbox history have demonstrated the same courage, creativity, and competitive spirit that fuels professional racing leagues, inspiring future daredevils. For many racers, soapbox racing is their first taste of competitive driving. It teaches the fundamentals of speed, control, and, most importantly, how to survive a crash with a smile. Some soapbox racers have even gone on to pursue careers in professional motorsports, though hopefully with better engineered vehicles. The ability to handle unpredictable courses, adapt to split-second decisions, and keep going even when things go horribly wrong, that's the same mindset that separates great racers from the rest. Pushing the limits of vehicle design. While most professional engineers wouldn't exactly look to a cardboard taco on wheels for inspiration, Soapbox Racing has always been about thinking outside the box, sometimes literally. The sport encourages wild innovation, from unusual aerodynamics to the world's most questionable safety features. And while Soapbox cars aren't exactly going to replace Formula One anytime soon, the spirit of experimenting with new ideas and defying expectations is something that motorsports as a whole thrives on. Keeping the fun in racing. At the end of the day, Soapbox Racing reminds us why we love motorsports in the first place. It's unpredictable, hilarious, and full of surprises. Whether it's an underdog victory, an impossible comeback, or an instantly legendary crash, Soapbox racers have kept the world entertained while proving that sometimes the most ridiculous ideas turn out to be the best ones. Soapbox Racing isn't just a sport, it's an experience. It's where the fearless, the reckless, and the downright unprepared come together to prove that you don't need an engine to put on a show. From gravity-defying jumps to legendary wipeouts, the craziest Soapbox racers have given us moments that are impossible to forget. These drivers aren't just racing for victory, they're racing for glory, chaos, and the chance to become a viral sensation. Whether they cross the finish line in triumph or end up rolling across it without their vehicle, one thing is certain: they make the sport what it is. The creativity, the commitment, and the absolute lack of fear or common sense are what keep us watching year after year. And let's be honest, there's something truly special about watching someone put their heart and soul into a homemade vehicle, only to crash it in the most spectacular way possible. If you've made it this far, congratulations. You now know just how wild Soapbox Racing can get. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. If you don't, I might just enter a race myself. And trust me, that's a disaster none of us are ready for.